Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I have Mateo once again over here with me, and he's going to be showing us his updated Shaddoll Invoked deck profile. Before we get into the video, be sure to smash the like button and comment down below what you guys think of Shaddoll Invoked. This deck is really cool, amazing, grand, amazing everything, and once again, shoutouts to Mateo for coming onto the video today, and yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, Mateo, you want to take it?
Yep, let's start with the deck profile. We're going to start with the main deck first, obviously. For the Shaddoll engine, we are going 2 Wendy, obviously the best one of the deck, objectively. No, so actually, we're not running 3 because this is actually the one where it ends up using too many resources late game, so you'd rather have cards that will do more late game than waste your resource. So we're going 2 Schemata for the same reason. You don't want to have cards that are going to waste more of your resource.
Got it.
These are enough just to open them and see them. Whoopsie daisy.
Alright, cool.
Next to Hedgehog, because this card's also really good to just use with your main first turn board.
Flip effect is very good.
Yeah, flip effect's also really good. 1 Beast, you're usually just setting this off Wendy and getting his draw 2. You don't need it for more than that. 1 Dragon, really good against the back row matchups. Helps you play through a lot of stuff. It's really good. 1 Genius, it's the new addition to the deck, and it's really good against Zeus. I've actually been finding a little bit of difficulties outing Zeus with this deck, so, and this is a really easy way to do it without super calling. Really good card.
Awesome.
Next, the last card for the Shell Engine, 1 Aerial. This card ruins Eldic. You literally send the Grave Banisher 3 main traps, stop them from playing the game, and you really just essentially shut them down. But yeah, this is, I think, the perfect Shaddoll lineup. The one you cut is Genius if you were to cut one. Because we are running 41 cards. So yeah, that's it for the Shaddoll Engine. Now for the hand traps. We go triple Ash Blossom, standard this format, triple Phantasme, one of my favorite hand traps in the game, always has been, and triple Lancey in the main. The reason I run Lance is because it's a really good light target, better than the Nibiru, and it's also better than any other light you can think of that's in the game.
Okay.
But yeah, so Lancia, obviously, really good against Dragon Link, really good against Eldic, and it's really good against a lot of rogue decks. Also, Dino too. Very good against a lot of matchups. And in the mirror, it's really good. Phantasme is usually going to get value off of every single matchup because every deck is like something right now. And Ash is just the most generic card in generic hand trap, and it also fuels your perfect trio.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's it for the hand trap. 9 hand traps, perfect ratio. Now into the Invoked engine.
The Ash is bait for Purgatrio too, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because Purgatrio will just start stomping on their board. Then we go for the Invoked engine. We go triple Alistair. Not really much to explain. Alistair's just, busted.
Just normal summon Alistair, you win the game.
Yeah. Then we go triple Meltdown. Meltdown, obviously, your main searcher for Alistair. Also, this card's effect is busted because it makes all your Shaddoll spells and traps basically a pseudo spell speed 4, right? Basically, the fact that they're not allowed to like judgment it or negate it in that sense, or use a counter trap on it to negate it, makes the cards absolutely broken. That means your Shaddoll Fusion will go from deck automatically, get you free pluses, and they can't negate it, which is really good. And then obviously the Terraforming to search it.
The 4th Meltdown. I actually have a quick question over here. So what do you think about the ban list? Do you think hitting Meltdown to 1 is a good hit?
I think it's a phenomenal hit. This deck will be slowed down plenty because Meltdown is like one of the most broken cards to have, as it gives you value with your Shaddoll Fusions, right? And it gives you value with your other stuff to not get hit with your other fusion spells. Alright,
so you heard it here first, Konami. Bring Meltdown to 1. No more 7 Alistairs.
Then we go double Invocation. You don't need more than this. If you run more than 2 Invocation, you end up breaking an Invocation. This card is, like, the resource grind that this card gives you is insane. You don't need to run more because you're always recycling the Alistair, and the Alistair is going to be normal summon again, and it's going to add it back to hand. You don't need to run more than 2, as it simply is not effective. That's it for the basics of the Invoked engine.
Yep.
You shouldn't really run more of this. Obviously, the only thing you can run more of is the Invocation, but that is obviously incorrect. Next, we're going into the Shaddoll spells. Triple Shaddoll Fusion. This card's just broken. This card's nuts. Going from the deck, going second is insane. This is also one of your best cards against Zeus. Again, for the Genius. Really good. Then we go double Shaddoll Fusion. This card helps you push your game and also is good with paired with a Schism because you can end up protecting your window from Dark Ruler No More at that point. Because you would just end up let the Dark Ruler No More resolve and then chain wind whatever they're activating. Really good. Came up in a Drytron matchup and actually won me the game.
Awesome.
So That's it for the Shaddoll spells and traps. And now we're going on to my favorite spell and trap in the deck. Or sorry, favorite spell in the deck is Super Poly. This card, this card has won me so many games. It is insane how much pressure this card puts. You're playing against D-Link, this card fixes your whole entire board and ruins theirs. All their work they did gets ruined by one Super Poly. And if you open two, you end up destroying their entire field. Their entire field's gone with two Super Polys. Again, one is enough to end most people's games. Like, this is a perfect hit to Dragoon. If someone gets hand trapped a lot and they just think of going to Dragoon, you just Super Poly both of them away. And there's your game, basically. Very, very good card.
Alright.
Then the untraditionals is double Spellbook of Knowledge. I don't think I could run 3 because it is a once per turn effect and it does end up breaking at that point. 2 has been really perfect. This card has been really nuts and actually has proven a solid spot in the deck. And it gives you that value that other cards like Call of the Grave or other things like that wouldn't give you. So yeah, this is one of my favorite cards. Also is a way better option over Desires or Prosperity. Then one Foolish Burial. This card is literally any card in your deck. You want a card, you get it off Foolish Burial. So, you know, that's my basic 3 options that aren't necessary to the deck, but I really like. Then for the traps, you run 1 Resh and 1 Shaddoll Schism. Schism's, like, you don't need to explain that at all. This card's broken. But Resh, first of all, is a really good side out. Second of all, it does come up in a lot of games where you need an interruption on your opponent's turn with, like, Shaddoll Dragon or Shaddoll Skarmata to bounce or destroy their cards. This card is actually really good. And its first effect isn't horrible, summoning 1 from Grave. It can end up summoning back a Construct, doing another combo, and also, you know, giving you a monster that can't be basically destroyed by battle with a special summon monster. So, yeah, these 2 I think are really standard in the deck. The one you can cut is definitely Resh, because it is less effective than the Schism, but it is still a really nice card to have.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. We'll start off with the Shaddoll engine. So first we're going double Construct. I really find if you know how to manage a resource, 2 Construct is more than enough. And yeah, this card is really, really solid. Like, against Eldritch, you send their Eldritch, and you basically just go by dumping the aerial, banishing the 3 trap cards in the grave, and they basically just scoop at that point because they have no resources. Awesome. And you end up just OTKing them. Yeah, really, really good. Then we go with double Shaddoll Winda. Winda, like, I don't know if we really need to explain it. Can't be sure of card effects. Your opponent can only special summon once. It's just, it's a nuts card. I don't understand why this card is still in the game. Next, we got 2 Apclone. Apclone is actually, like, really good. If you are a good Shaddoll player and you know how to time your effects, Apclone can be one of the most destructive cards in the game, because what you can end up doing is going Schism to summon this, and as your opponent will have turn player priority, their effects, their chains will always go first. So you're going to end up using Apclone to negate their effects ahead of time, basically, if you can anticipate what's happening with plays. Which means this card will end up getting a lot of mileage. Also, its second effect is really good, and sometimes it does come up that it won't be destroyed by, like, it can't be destroyed by battle. And sometimes it comes up where they have a Mechaba and you just crash into it and get free value off of it because it can't be destroyed by battle. Last Shaddoll fusion monster is Shekinaga. We're running the Shekinaga for the Zoo matchup. Going first, you literally just normal summon any Shaddoll Super Poly, make a Shekinaga, and you get free value because they're all Earths. And obviously if they make the Zeus, you go into the Construct and you go from there, right? So yeah, Shekinaga, it did a lot of work in the last turn I played against, as I played against like 3 Zoo matchups. Really, really good card. That's it for the Shaddoll stuff. Next, our one and only pure Super Poly target is the Starving Venom. I don't know if I really need to explain this, but 2 Darks off the field is nuts. This card just deals with everything you need. This card is ridiculous. It really is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now for the Invoked engine. You go 1 Mechaba, 1 Raijin, 1 Purg, and 1 Agoides. So, let's go from the ones you're going to summon the most to the ones you're going to summon the least. So, Mechaba, obviously, most of your turn 1 boards, if you have a decent hand, is going to end on Mechaba, Schism, and Winda. That's your classic board. Or Winda going in on their turn. But Mechaba is really good. It just ends up giving you a free monster and a guaranteed. Then we go to our next one, was probably going to be Agoides. Agoides is really, really good because it helps you game, and also setting up a proper board and a really destructive board of Agoides window. So whenever they special summon Agoides, will end up popping that one card, and they're just going to end up passing. Because this is a very hard board to out, as, you know, window can't be destroyed by card effects either. So Agoides, very, very solid card. Next, we're going to be going to the Raijin more than the Purg. Raijin is really good because, you know, 1D is a wind. And Raijin actually comes up in a lot of clutch scenarios where he's just booking your opponents. For example, booking an Eldritch, and it will prevent them from resolving their effects. Also against Zoo, they basically won't be able to XYZ or XZ into a higher up Zoo. So really, really good card. And then the last one is Purgatrio. This card comes up and will end up winning you games, stealing you games when your opponent's not expecting it. Especially when they're trying to like set up a board where they're just trying to protect themselves. You just grab a Purgatrio and you pierce their entire field, which is nuts. This card's really, really good in a lot of situations. This has won me a bunch of games. And this card, I don't think it's worth cutting for Caliga, because Caliga basically by itself usually does not do enough, whereas this will end up winning you the game, which is why I like Purgatrio more.
That's awesome.
And our last three cards are 3 Link monsters, and the 3 really important ones. So we got Artemis, the most important, Gravity Controller second most, and Anaconda as our flex spot. So Artemis is basically just there
for the Alistair
to link off your Alistair after you search off your invocation. And you basically just use the invocation, banish both of these to summon out your Mechaba.
Also, the Artemis you actually send off of the spellbook of Knowledge for you guys who didn't catch that.
Yeah, and that's why also Knowledge is really, really good. It helps you get a free draw too for doing absolutely nothing, right? So, yeah, Artemis basically does nothing other than being a free spellcaster, and is also better than the Secure Gardener Almirage engine because it is a spellcaster and gives you the access to a draw too. Next, we have the Gravity Controller. This allows you to make your construct to get to grave to add the Schism back, which is really, really important. Its second effect makes itself float, which is actually really important sometimes, and it does help you win some really cheesy games where your opponent doesn't read this card and they attack with a card in the EMZ that really they don't want to be bounced, and it will force a bounce out. Like, it will just really force a negate at that point because you're getting rid of a really prime target. And lastly, Anaconda, because this card can change a monster in the field to dark and super poly it away. So this card basically get rid of any card in the game. Any card it wants to, it can get rid of. Which means Anaconda deserves a spot in the deck. Even though there's other things people like. Like, people like the Alistair Link if you're not running Dragoon. But I just think that's kind of weak to an extent, where Anaconda will basically allow you to just dump a Shaddoll Fusion as well and get complete value, because you can still send from the deck if they control an extra deck monster with Anaconda's effect. So you're getting a lot of value off of it.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for the deck profile. Once again, this is a first place deck profile of Shaddoll Invoked. It has come first place several weeks in for a row now. And yeah, congratulations to Mateo for his amazing results with the deck. He's obviously very, very, he knows the deck pretty well, as you guys could tell. Once again, be sure to smash the like button. And if you guys have reached this far in the video, let me know in the comments down below, and I will be sure to heart your comment. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, guys. Peace.